Are you surprised that the cracks have shown at 1-5 before we even got out of the 6-game?
No, because 1-5 is awful. 1-5 is about the right spot where it should be. Now, again, I guess we're differentiating between the cracks showing. Am I surprised that Stefanski and Barry ever got to a spot where they would seem like they're not copacetic and they're not simpatico? Yeah, a little surprised there. I thought they were going to go down with the ship together.
See, I'm actually the reverse. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised because it's the NFL. And the NFL, at some point, especially with a owner who might be a little bit impetuous, might be somebody that hovers a little bit, it makes sense that at some point there's going to be cracks in that relationship. I am surprised at 1-6, though, because I think they should have expected they were coming out of the first 6 weeks with not a great record. And it feels like, to me, this is fast-tracked. It feels like, to me, now it becomes, could this thing fall apart? Like, I have been staunch. Don't fire Kevin Stefanski before the end of the regular season. And I'm talking about like the last couple weeks. Mm-hmm. If it's like week 16, you want to get a jump start on it, okay, do what you got to do. But like, I wouldn't fire him before the bye. I wouldn't fire him at the bye. Like, I would just let him coach and see if he can coach his way out of that. I think he's earned that right through 5+ years here. And I don't need to see Bubba Ventrone or Tommy Rees or the running backs coach as the or Chad O'Shea.
Yeah, but how you start losing that, Nick, is that if you start doing things like you did a couple Tuesdays ago, where you start being like, oh, that's Andrews to answer, that's Andrews to answer, and you stop being the good soldier. This entire time he's been the good soldier. You stop doing that, and it might give him the incentive to say, okay, we're cutting this thing off early.
I also think you maybe don't get that benefit of the doubt if you're going to throw or drop back your quarterback 58 times.
Yes.
And then specifically if that quarterback is Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders and not the guy you started the season with.
Although I still do think he got the main objective done, which I don't think... Yes, exactly. I don't think coaches and players ever just say, I'm going to lose and do that. And so I just don't think Stefanski enters a game believing that. But he did get what the front office, I think, wants accomplished. They want the best draft pick imaginable.
I find it really hard after how awful 1-31 is. I'm really hard pressed to believe they would go back to, because what you're describing this early is tanking. I don't think they're tanking. I think there's a difference between we're making moves, evaluating young guys, but while still trying to be competitive. Tanking to me is, man, I really hope we get beat by 3 scores this weekend. Yeah, but I don't think Kevin will ever go for that. And I don't think
Kevin will, but I think Andrew will. And I think Andrew has shown you that he thinks differently. He operates differently than most people. You ask Mike Tomlin, he never thought that he'd trade a quarterback that he believed in to start week 1 and week 5. But here we are, because Andrew Berry thought he could get a little bit of value there.
Could this fall apart quicker than we realized?
I think it's starting to. I think that's it. I think like the cracks are here. I think the idea that Stefanski's publicly getting as many people in his corner and lining up the conversations the way that they're lining them up, I don't think this stuff is an accident. But the part that is surprising to me and the part that's really interesting to me is that I just didn't think Bert and Ernie would have a breakup like this. And it feels like as of right now, Andrew Berry, no one's coming out in defense of Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry seems like he thinks that he's fine and he's set. It's the Stefanski supporters and through the media, the Stefanski people that are feeling the need to go ahead and back their guy. And I understand why. When Bruce Arians comes out and speaks the way that he does, clearly Kevin felt like he needed the backing of some of his media brethren and friends, and here we are. It's interesting. You got to be eating this stuff up.
216-474-0092. The question here is this thing falling apart quicker than you thought it would? I'll just continue to go back to if the answer is yes, if this is happening in real time and we're maybe 3 weeks away from something happening. Like I think it feels so foreign to me that Kevin could lose this game on Sunday and be out of a job on Monday. 1-6 in this season. I just don't think that's where we are, unless you just think he's not giving the offense a chance to win, and that's his job, so we're going to go in a different direction. Even then, it's like it can still get worse. You benched Joe because you had to get the offense better. This last week was your worst week of offense all season long. But I think it becomes really interesting because I think what it confirms is they knew they might be 1-5. I think this 1-5 is even uglier than they anticipated. I think they thought 1-5 is going to be because we're playing Pittsburgh, we're playing Cincy, we're playing Baltimore, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, right? I think they're surprised at how, it just looks like you're not well coached. When you have penalties, when you have all the mental miscues, drops, all these things.
Or just not competitive.
And
they look lifeless.
Yes, you're not competing your way out of these games as opposed to, man, those teams are just that good.
Now, I don't know. Maybe inside that building, though, Nick, maybe they're holding on to the hope that the schedule looks so much easier. It's something that I've been saying for 2 weeks now. Ross Tucker seems to have adopted it as well. Like the idea that if you look at the schedule, you're playing a lot of the teams that we also describe as lifeless, as zombies out on the field, as not looking like they have anything. The Raiders, the Titans, this week against the Dolphins. You're playing some of the worst in the NFL. So maybe they're just hanging on to that. But
can it all be shattered this week?
Well, yeah,
Can't this be the illusion shatterer?
If you lose to the Dolphins, that means you're not like, if you're trying to figure out are they a decent team that is just getting beaten by good teams, or are they just a flat-out bad team? And if you lose to the Dolphins, you're just a flat-out bad team. You can't even disguise yourself that you're middle of the pack that just had a tough schedule.
So this then brings us to what Alex Boone, former Ohio State offensive lineman, I think 8, 9, 10-year career in the NFL as a guard, what he had to say on Baskin and Phelps. And I really thought, I thought he knocked it out of the park. I think there were a lot of Browns fans listening to Alex Boone today, shaking their head and saying, absolutely, that's exactly what we're talking about. But he talked about this game plan this last weekend and forcing Dylan Gabriel to throw 50-plus times, and how the Browns and Kevin Stefanski need to flip the script.
I'm more like, hey, why don't we run the ball 52 times a game and throw it 12 times a game? Why don't we just reverse this whole theory and we see who really wants to play? Let's become the Lions for a little bit. Let's go out and punch everybody in the mouth and go, yeah, we're still here and we're just having fun now, right? Like we're like the track team up the street. We're just here to have fun, punch you in the mouth and see how much you want to play, because you probably thought we were asleep and dead, but now we're not. We're awake. That's how Kevin's going to get this team back. If you can't run the ball, you don't belong in this league, right? That's why you should always be able to fall back on your fundamentals. Hey, this game gets hard, we're going to kick it to duo. Why? Because duo involves all of us punching all of them in the face. And then in the next series, we're going to do a fake duo, go-go, double dancer, right? Like we're going to just pretend to hit the duo. All these linebackers are going to be like, they're not going to punch us in the mouth this time. And then all of a sudden, there goes Jerry Jeudy right down the field, right? Or there goes Njoku. Watch this. Watch Petonio coming down here, smacking you in the face. You'll start stepping back up. It's a cat and mouse game. You just have to always be the cat and never the mouse.
I very rarely ever say this kind of thing when I hear somebody. I can always find where I agree with somebody and where I disagree with them. There isn't a single thing that Alex Boone said with Jeff and Andy today. In that clip, there was not a single thing that I disagreed with. And what he's speaking to is, get that identity. Let that be your identity. You don't have to do this for the end of time, but for this year, allow power, allow physicality to run out. And by the way, you got an incredibly physical running back. That, to me, is what Sunday also represents.
I mean, Jared Goff still throws the ball 30 times a game, though. That's maybe where he lost me a little bit. Like, I like the idea of the Lions, but they do use a passing attempt. They use a passing game. I guess maybe I wanted a different team for him to maybe choose the identity with. Mm-hmm. But I like the sentiment is right. The sentiment is like your best offensive weapon is Judkins. You're going to have to be a running team if you're going to try to win these games. This is actually goes in Coach Riz's favor. Remember 2 weeks ago we did the discussion with the Vikings game about what was supposed to happen with the 3rd and 11 pass in that whole series? Mm-hmm. Coach Riz was like, he loved the first and the second down play because both of them involved Judkins. And at least in that instance, you're going down with the ship. You're going down with the guy that you're supposed to be going down with. And for that, he thought the plays were, the result wasn't great, but it was the right idea. And I'm all right with that line of thinking. And I think that's maybe what Boone is trying to get to, that line of thinking. But it is embarrassing, Nick, that if you look up pass attempts in the NFL so far this year, the Browns are number 1 with a bullet. It's number 1, and it's not even close for number 2. And there's a whole list before you get to number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from how far behind they are.
I think Kevin would say, well, we've had a couple games we haven't run the ball well, so we've supplemented that with the short pass game. I understood that when Quinshon Judkins was not available in the Cincinnati game. I honestly, the first game or two that Quinshon was here, and you were talking, 8 carries here, maybe 12 carries here, I understood it. After the Minnesota game, there's just no excuse. And this is like, Kevin has screamed I screamed because he's the most low-key dude in the world.
Softly told everyone.
Softly but firmly told everyone, nay, whispered, that he, we've adapted our offense each year that we've been here. We've changed. You have to adapt in the NFL. And for a long time, I never saw him truly adapt in a big picture. And then when they did adapt, it was to the spread offense, and it was the biggest failure ever. So now you're going back to the offense you used to run, but now you're not committing to it. Yeah, you're still stuck on that. It's like playing Madden. Like, why play ball control, run 30 times in a Madden game if I can throw 50 times and throw for 500 yards? Well, because this isn't Madden. And I know Kevin knows that, but there's something that switches in certain games, and Pittsburgh was like this, where he just gets it in his dome. The run game's not working. And he's got the quickest bail on that, but he never circles back to it.
Well, so
that's what's crazy. If the pass game isn't working, he doesn't bail on it.
No, he just in his head, he just thinks it's not working today and it's gone. It's like at the half, Judkins had 6 carries for 12 yards, and you looked at it, and there's not many people that could make a case they were running the ball particularly well. It was 15 carries for 35 yards through the first 3 series, and Judkins himself was not looking good, as I just said previously. But that doesn't mean you abandon it. It's a 9-3 game. Like, the recipe is there, and at many turns you have to continue to go back to it. But it's amazing. When we got Stefanski here, I remember so many people in Minnesota, they just kept telling us how the run game is how he basically got that job with the Browns. Like, if you look at what he did in Minnesota, it was all the run game, and in many ways you decide, all right, fine. Dalvin Cook was the man in the 1 year that he was an offensive coordinator. Dalvin Cook was it, and Dalvin Cook was awesome. And then he gets Nick Chubb here, and it just felt like life was on easy street for him. And now he's got to try to find a way to just get back to that. Have the understood awesome back in Dalvin Cook, in Nick Chubb, and now Quinshon, and erase what you had to do for the previous 2 years where you didn't know what you could rely on with the running back situation.